Hey, what up, guys? In this one, headed to Las Vegas to play Bali Hai golf course. That being said, my wife got sick right before our family trip, so it freed me up to play. You'll see me in tennis shoes, rental clubs, and golf balls that I got at Target. But let's go see how I did. All right, first start of the day is with the Maverick driver. Felt kind of at home here due to the fact that I used to game Maverick, so no issues with the driver. The issues really came when it was time to hit to the green. This one sails over it, and so now I'm in this dirt area, and I just blade this one back in front of the green. So I'm still chipping on my fourth shot on. So finally get the ball onto the green. So I'm putting for bogey here. And yeah, I didn't have much time to warm up on the greens, and I sailed this one by. So these greens were actually in really good shape, and they were pretty quick. And so here is the comebacker. And yeah, still hit this one quite well by, but end up just tapping this one in for a triple bogey off of the first. And I'm not going to sit here and make excuses for myself. I saw the rental clubs more as a challenge to see how well I could play with a different set. That being said, the driver was probably the best club in the bag. Even though this one goes wayward left on this par 5 here, I end up just punching this next shot, just playing it safe, and getting myself into position to try to get my third one on. You can't see the green here, and I just for all of these irons, I actually took one less iron than I would normally take because of the juiced lofts. This one ends up being a tad bit short. And as you can see, employing the bump and run here because they only had a 60-degree wedge and then the rental set sand wedge that came with the Maverick set. So it was either bump and run or the 60-degree, and I left the 60-degree in. That putt there barely missed for my par, ended up with the bogey. So as you can see, the driver, I don't know what it was. Maybe I should go back to my old Maverick, but I was piping it. This one ends up going around 270 yards. And this next approach, about 170 yards out. So I took a 7-iron, but normally I would take a 6-iron. And from off the green, I just hit my 9-iron, which probably should take a pitching wedge for all the bump and runs, but didn't realize it in the moment. So I roll it by, and this is my putt for par, and I barely miss it. The putter was actually rolling pretty well for me, and I was very surprised. I almost was tempted to buy it after the round. All right, so this next hole is a very short par 4. So I ended up just taking a 4-iron, and I thought I hit a really good shot, and so did the person I was playing with. But unfortunately, I ended up rolling into this creek. So I found my ball. Here it is, and I'm just taking it out and placing it to where I can hit it. And here's the shot. And this one goes a little bit to the right and a little bit long. And so I leave myself with the really tough bump and run to get onto the green. So I hit it into the hill, and it rolls on and just cozies its way up there. So very impressed with that. And then here is the putt, and I barely missed that one as well. So I end up getting a double because I hit one in the hazard. All right, coming up next, another pretty decent drive with the Maverick. Really make me question why I don't have this in the bag. It had an even flow shaft in it. Maybe it was the shaft, I'm not sure. And then this one I hit a little strong, but I was just aiming for the dead center of the green and just hoping that one club less than I normally play would beat the distance. It was a little long, and here's the putt. And as you see, it rolls really, really well, and I just have an easy tap-in par. So feeling pretty good overall. So another challenging part of the day was par 3s because I'm not sure how far the irons were going to go, and this one has water. I was convinced this was going into the water, but I got lucky and it barely cleared. So tried the bump and run again, and I thought I hit a pretty good one, but this one zoomed well past the hole, and so now I have a super long attempt here just for par. But as you can see, this putter just is giving me more reasons to try to go by it. I almost make that from distance, and I just tap that in for bogey. All right, coming up, another great drive. Who would have thought? I end up hitting this one in the middle of the fairway, so I'm set up pretty good for my next shot, which is just going to be a simple layup here with an iron. Now, just to let you know, this is going back to variable length clubs as well, so I think I'm going to tend to pull the longer clubs to the left, and this wedge actually into the green actually goes left as well. So I try to get cute here with the hybrid and try to knock it on, but it ends up rolling through the green, and so I probably have just as long of a shot for my next one. And then here is the attempt, and this one rolls straight by. So now I have a long one making a mess of this hole just for my bogey, and fortunately end up draining it. So still feeling pretty good with this putter. So one thing that I didn't expect on this course is really great views of the strip. So as you can see in the background, you can see the Luxor and other iconic hotels. Just driving into that, it was pretty cool. That being said, this is a very long par 4. End up pulling this to the left-hand side, and fortunately got a really good kick, and it ends up landing up right here. And here's another bump and run, and I roll this through. Not terrible, but not great. And so I have a pretty decent length one for the par here. And as you can see, still continuing to roll it pretty decently. I had the line, just didn't go out strong enough in terms of the distance. And I'm just tapping that in for bogey. So it's kind of funny, like you're in the desert, but a lot of these holes have water, specifically the par 3s. And yeah, and this one, I thought I was going to be wet, but there's a little finger of green out there on the left-hand side that my ball landed on. And so now I just have this one for my birdie. And I didn't have the greatest of putts here, but I was able to clean it up for a par. So getting back on track. So rounding the turn, 10 over. Pretty happy with the overall results. End up hitting a really good drive down the center. So it's been a really great driving day. Try to bring out the 3-wood here. End up just, topping the crap out of it. And so now I have a decent length shot into the green. Just take out the 9-iron. Ends up, being pretty good. And so I have a pretty decent look at birdie here. So here is the putt. I really wanted this, and I hit this a little firm. And so here's the comeback for par. End up draining it. So having a good string of holes here. All right, coming up next is a par 3. These are all kind of just like spray and pray and hope I hit the right number. This one ends up being short and right. I end up taking the flat stick from off the green. And not the best of results, but pretty much it's close enough to try to just tap this in for par. And I miss it. So end up 3-putting from off the green for bogey. All right, another picturesque drive into the strip. You can hear helicopters in the background. Maybe people are taking a tour and they're watching me crush this driver. That being said, my next shot into the green, I end up flaring it out to the right, but it's just barely off of the green. So I end up just taking my putter here and, just putting it on and trying to get it close. And as you see, there's quite a lot of break, but overall really happy with this result from so far off the green. And so here is the par. I just cleaned it up, so I'm feeling pretty good. So as you can see on the card, which is where I get all these numbers for the holes, I think the card was playing a little longer than the actual tees on the course, because this is a 458-yard par 4. I hit a really good drive, and unfortunately just topped the hybrid or the wood there, and so I have to hit this one on. And I actually do a half decent job here of getting on and giving myself a chance at par. So here is the par putt. Almost hit my playing partner's ball, but look at that. Left it in a really nice spot, end up tapping that in for bogey. All right, another par 3 coming up. Just spraying and praying. See, as you can see, 224 yards on the scorecard, but it was maybe playing like 190. End up being short and left and trying to bump and run this ball onto the green. And it ends up going a little farther than I hoped to. But then, yeah, almost make it with this putter, this 1-ball putter, and I'm in for bogey. All right, coming up next is a par 5, and it's not that much longer than the previous long par 4. I end up hitting a really good drive and then finally hitting a good 3-wood. I end up being short and right off the green, and I really wanted to go for this eagle, so you can see me take a really aggressive distance on this and run through it. Probably should have just played it safe and just easily gotten a 2-putt birdie, but really wanted to get that eagle, and I'm going to get punished for it here. As you can see, I missed the birdie putt, so end up making par from only 10 feet off the green. All right, coming up next is a really cool hole. It's like almost pretty much an island green that you're hitting to, water all around, and I end up just striping this one and hitting the center of the green. And yeah, here's the birdie attempt. And I miss it on the high side, it ends up lipping out. So unfortunately, easy par, but almost had the bird. So it was too good of a driving day not to have a mistake. And unfortunately, I hit this one, in play, but I couldn't find it. So I ended up taking a drop, adding 2 strokes. And so now I'm hitting my 4th shot from the fairway. And yeah, pretty much, I'm just trying to get it as close to the green as possible and try to minimize the blow up. And unfortunately, this 9-iron ends up short. And then I end up hitting this one through. So making a mess out of this hole. I have this putt for my triple. And yeah, unfortunately, this one doesn't go in. End up tapping in for a quad bogey. Unfortunately, just lost that ball and I couldn't find it. All right, at this point of the round, last hole, I'm pretty cognizant of the fact that I could break bogey golf potentially. Unfortunately, I just popped this one up into the left and end up on this mound here, so I have quite a long shot to the green. I take out the 3-wood, end up hitting it pretty good, end up just being off into the left, so I take the flat stick out because it's what I've been most confident with. End up hitting a pretty good putt here, so I have this, short one for the par. And as you can see, you can kind of see how fast things were getting. It was drying out, and pretty much this one slid and kept on rolling. But I ended up just tapping this one in for bogey, shooting 18 over, bogey golf here in Las Vegas. All right, as you can see, didn't do too bad. Shot bogey golf. That being said, hit the driver really well, but the clubs that I missed the most are probably like my wedges for around the green. I'm getting really used to, bumping and running with a 9-iron. And I was using the 9-iron set. However, it was probably like an 8-iron loft, so I was hitting way further than I normally anticipate a 9-iron to go. But I had a really good time. The course is great. A little expensive, but I had a great time. So hope you guys enjoyed that one. Keep chasing. I'll see you in the next one.